Hey everybody, it's KZ Speed One's Kart Dad here, and we're doing tires tonight. So we're going to do a quick little video on how to dismount a tire, and then on how to mount a tire. So we're going to start with pulling the valve, getting all the air out. So you take your handy dandy little valve remover, stick it down in there. Depending on how much air you got in this thing, it will shoot this little valve across the room. But so just kind of, if I wasn't videoing, I'd have my hand over my other hand so this thing don't freaking rocket across the room. But as long as you just got, like, you know, normal cart pressure in there, it's usually not a big deal. And that's what I got right now. But if you had it blown up for stagger, that thing would shoot that thing across the room. But that's simple. Hold on to that. They're easy to lose. Alright, there's many different kinds of bead breakers. I've got these kind here, but basically set it in the bead breaker, start cranking it on down, and then when you get it close to the rim, make sure that the ring is on the outside of the rim, because these rims are aluminum and you don't want to bend your rim because, you know, it costs you money. So just take account of that. And so I'm going to put this phone down and make sure we're good to go. Alright, so we're good to go on that. I'll tell you what, this is where the silver rims come into play, because you, with the black rim, it's a little harder to make sure that you're not on the wheel. But you just keep that, it just popped, and I always keep on pushing it all the way down until it stops, to help get it off the rim, help get it off that offset there. And then sometimes the bottom bead will pop, sometimes it won't pop, and it's not such a big deal to flip it over. I'm looking for my tool that turns that valve to release it, and I'll stop the video. Alright, so I flipped it over, put this other side on to pop this bead, and check this wheel, slide it over just a tad bit. Let's crank it back down. You know, you can tell if it's hitting wheel, because when you start cranking and it just stops, and you know you can't power through it, you know, or you don't want to try to power through it because it's aluminum, then you know you're getting a little bit of wheel. You know what I mean? Like right here. Okay, I went all the way down. It kind of just stopped. Okay, now you don't want to force anything. So so now we've popped both beads, and now for the fun part. Pull this off of here. Now, you always want to pop the bead off the small side, okay? You don't want to pop it off the offset side, because otherwise then you're just going to be fighting more tire. All right, so let me get set up for this. This is what I use, okay? I use a short little flat tire iron and a standard lug wrench, okay? And I'm going to hit around the bead with just a tad little bit of water. It's like water mixed with simple green. It's probably only got like maybe 1/5 simple green in there. So now I had to put the phone down for a minute. But you see, I just got a tad little bite on that tire rim. Okay, what do you call it? The more of a bite you get, it just seems the harder it is. Of course, it has a tendency to slip out with just a tad little bite. So it's kind of, you gotta find a happy medium. All right. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this one. I ain't about to do it holding the phone. I'm going to be able to pull this one this way. I'm going to pull that one that way. So opposite directions. And it's just going to spread. And that bead will pop right off. Now, here we go. the perfect size, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you gotta finagle it a little bit. But the more of these you do, the better you get out of it. So now that pops out there, right? Now all I'm gonna do, just kind of hold this side here. Just kind of, just rip that joker right off there. It's really not as hard as it looks. There's your rim, all right? All right. Big side, little side. We always want to go over the little side, right? The tire has a direction marker, okay? Yes, we flip tires, we might run in the opposite direction, but when I start out with a brand new tire, I'm always going to go in the direction it recommends, okay? So, that would be just like this, all right? Want to flip this joker, all right? Go over the little side, right? I'm going to give it a little water. And I always I got this little toilet brush here. It didn't start out as a toilet brush. It was brand new, bought it at a dollar store. Man, I think it works. Okay? And I wish there was an easier way to say this. You should power that joker on. And you kind of get a bite on it to the best of your ability. Alright? You want to get a bite, but you want to, and you just kind of, see how I'm grabbing the tire like this? Just kind of work it on there. You know, people take them off the very same way. They don't use those tire irons that I use earlier. But I started out with tire irons, and if you get a tire that's been on a tire for a long time, like I've had to buy out with a dry rotted, unless you're like Hulk Hogan, you're not getting that tire on there without tire irons. If it's all dry rotted, like especially I had them some ELs, which are a much stiffer tire. Good luck getting that on without tire iron if you're a bricklayer and have some serious man hands. But alright, so we're on, right? And you kind of like, see how it's kind of folded over? You kind of work the tire to get it kind of blowed out, because you got to get that bead to seal. You put air in this thing all day, if it's not sealed, it ain't gonna pop, right? So now you go. I put the valve back in. Some people don't, okay? But before I would put it in the tire ring, what I'll do is I'll just give it a tad bit of air to get it to seal, because if you got a leak when you already have it in the tire ring, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I just get, so I know it's gonna, so it's sealed, it's got a little bit of air in it, then I'll put the ring on before I pop it. So in a moment I'll go get my ring. Alright, boys and girls, so I got this joker to take just the tiniest little bit of air, alright, and now I'm going to drop it in my tire ring, alright. And if you don't know, the reason why we use a tire ring, alright, is it keeps the tire from going out in the center here and ripping the cords, and so it kind of, we tighten it down on here, alright. Here's my tire ring, you see how it tightens down, and what it does is it only allows the tire to push out on the bead. Before I do this, I have found that hitting the exterior here with just a little bit of water allows that tire to slip over the rim, and you don't need 90,000 pounds of pressure to pop a bead on a tire, which I'm sure is not good for the tire. Alright, so we got it wet, and we're hoping the bead slides right on there so I look like I know what I'm doing. And the last tire I must have been a small one, so now I'll resize my ring here. Alright, so I got my tire in my ring, and now we're just going to add air to it and just keep on going until it pops. You're not going to have any, I'm not going to talk because as soon as that thing starts going, my air pressure is going to go back on. But let's see how it does here. See if the tire don't move when I put this on here. Of course, I'm not able to hold the tire and do it at the same time, right? Alright, here we go. See how easy that? Well, I think it popped the bottom. You see how easy it goes when you wet it? You're probably going to get a loud pop here at some point. Oh, look at that, the bottom popped. I love it when the bottom pops first. And there's the big pop. That thing will take your damn finger off, okay? So, this thing will take your damn finger off, okay? So make sure your darn fingers are clear when you're doing this, okay? They make things so you can do it at a distance or whatever, and I'm sure that that's great to have, but I don't have it. But like, keep your damn fingers clear. I'm telling you, when that damn bead pops, I'm pretty sure it'll take your finger off. And away we go. Oh! With your hand. Hanger's like, let me get in the video. I'm a good dog. Alright. You got a lot of pressure in this valve right now. Keep your hand over here as you take this valve out, and you don't want, otherwise that thing will shoot across the room on you. Keep your eyes out of the way. Remember, when you're popping that bead, keep your fingers out of the way, because man, when that thing snaps, you know, it'll take a finger with it if it's in the way, or anything that's in the way. You'd be hurting some. Alright, so now, I'm going to, doesn't really matter now, I can put this thing back in. You know, just so you don't lose it. These things are so tiny, and you're going to lose them. So, if you take a little bit of care, you'll lose less of them. Take my hand dandy electric ratchet that I got for Father's Day, and I love it. Let's see, make sure it's not loosen. Nope, still on tighten. Milwaukee, baby. I like Milwaukee. Alright. Just because you heard that pop doesn't mean the bead's all the way on. So just, what do you call it? Make sure it's all the way around. Alright. Hit it with a little bit of air to maintain the form. Like I said, we'll get into staggering at a different time. If I make a video on staggering. But, you know, these tires, you know, usually run them 34.25, 34.5. And this tire is probably sitting at 33.5 right now. So, like, when I mount a Maxxis Pink, right, a right side tire, I would leave it with some air in it. Now the Maxxis Blues, sometimes you gotta shrink those, so I might handle that differently. But I'm gonna always put a little bit of air in that. Besides, if I don't put a little air in it, it seems to fall through my tire rack. Alrighty then. that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. So we dismounted the tire. We broke the bead, dismounted the tire, mounted the tire, popped it back on the bead, and you know, I know there's other videos on this out there, and I'm sure there's better ways of doing things, like I said before. I'm not an expert on this stuff. Most of the stuff that I do a video on is, you know, my second time, third time, maybe my fourth or fifth time, but sure isn't my 100th time. And there's plenty of guys in the industry that have done this 100, 1,000 times. So give them the respect. And but you know, if you're gonna follow this channel, we want to do our best to help out other racers, especially new racers. And since I try to cater my stuff to, you know, being a one-man show dad and you know, racing with a small kid, you know, generally we're just a one-man show doing ourselves. And as much as our little guys or little girls like to be helpful, we know that you know, they can only do so much. All right. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe.